First of all, I wanted to talk to you about some local issues here, specifically about the federal courthouse. I know that here in Hidalgo County, I know that you've been pushing for a federal courthouse here in Hidalgo County. Many people want it. Right now, it's still at the old Benson Tower. This is one of the busiest federal districts in the entire United States, and the one in McAllen, really the busiest of the busiest. Where do you think this federal courthouse should be located, where it should be built, and more importantly, what kind of security measures do you think should be put into place given our proximity to the border and the kind of cases that are prosecuted down here?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think you hit it right on the nail. The caseload in the McAllen area has been increasing dramatically. The judges there are trying to do the best job as they can, and it's something that we need to address. So where do we put that courthouse? I think that's something that will have to be decided by the different stakeholders. My job as a member of the Appropriations Committee is to try to do the same thing that we did with Senator Cornyn in San Antonio, where we got a $135 million for a new courthouse in San Antonio. And I'm hoping that working with the other congressmen and with Senator Cornyn that we can also do the same thing in McAllen. GSA is doing a study right now, a housing study, to see how much space we need, not only for the judges, but for some of the other federal agencies. So the question is, do we just have a courthouse pretty much by itself, or do we have a courthouse slash federal building also to include the other folks? So we're working with GSA. I'm working on getting GSA to McAllen. Sylvia Hernandez, I'm working on getting Judge Brooke Smith, which is a judge from Pennsylvania, a federal judge involved with the ranking of courthouses in the nation. I've spoken to both of them because we were doing this work in San Antonio. So I'm hoping we can get the ball moving pretty quickly and have a meeting there in McAllen soon.
When you say quickly, Congressman, what kind of timeline are we talking about here?
Well, you know, it's hard to determine this because I know with the San Antonio courthouse it took us a few years, but we were able to put the money. We did clear the deck for 8 new courthouses across the nation, so I think that the deck is clean to put in somebody number 1. My goal is to put the McAllen courthouse as number 1, no more than number 2 in the whole ranking across the nation. If we're able to do that, then the possibilities of getting monies for a new courthouse will be dramatically increased. As the only member of appropriations from the area of South Texas, my goal is to work with Senator Cornyn, with my colleague there, Ruben Hinojosa, and Mr. Vela also, to try to get this courthouse here. But as a member of appropriations, I'm going to try to do everything possible. It's hard to give timetables, but I would say that this appropriation, I'm hoping that this appropriation, we can take a first step to create this new courthouse.
All right, well, thank you, Congressman. Another question, you brought up Ruben Hinojosa, your fellow congressman. Understand he, of course, is not running for re-election. That leaves the seat for District 15 open. We ourselves co-hosted a debate for the candidates running for that particular position. Do you know who the candidates are? And if so, are you endorsing anyone? And once one of these candidates does eventually take office, what will be the main issues, their main priority, you think, once they get into office?
Well, you know, certainly we want to thank Congressman Hinojosa for his service, for many years of service, number 1, to him and his family. Second of all, yes, I do know most of the candidates are running for the Congressional District 15th. I'm not going to endorse anybody. I'll let the voters from District 15 make that decision. But once that person wins, I want to work with that person. Actually, I'll be the senior member of the Valley. Then it will be Congressman Vela, and then it will be this new person for the district. So as the senior member from the border area, I certainly want to work with all the folks that you know, running for office. You know, once they get elected, I want to work with them because the Valley has to stay together. We got trade issues, we got immigration issues, we got transportation issues, we got education issues, and other issues that we have to work together as a team. So again, the senior member, next year I'll be the senior member actually on the whole the whole Texas-Mexico border. I'll be the senior member, and I want to work with his good colleagues that are working hard for the border, including the new member from District 15.
All right, Congressman, I'm not so sure if you have heard this, but probably in Washington you have. But it's gone viral right now that President Obama it is leaked or purposely leaked that he may be nominating someone for the Supreme Court justice spot open up by the death of Scalia. And reports are coming in that it's a Republican from Nevada, a lifetime politician actually, not someone from the bench, by the name of Brian Sandoval. Have you heard about this, and what do you think about this move?
Well, certainly, the president and his team are going to look for the best qualified person for the Supreme Court, somebody that would follow the Constitution, somebody that will do his or her job in a good way as the other Supreme Court judges. As you know, our Republican colleagues are saying that they're not going to provide a hearing. They're not going to have a hearing. They're not going to even meet with a nominee, which is unfortunate because, why does an election stop this? The Constitution doesn't say the president is a president for only 3 years. The last year doesn't count. The Constitution doesn't say that. So the president should be given the courtesy, whether it's a Democrat or Republican. 1988, President Reagan was given the courtesy to nominate somebody in 1988 during a presidential year. The Constitution also doesn't say that you can't nominate somebody because it might shift over the balance of the court. It doesn't say that. There are very important cases across the nation that are in the Supreme Court. In fact, some of them are coming from the state of Texas. There's the immigration court case that it's up there. There's an affirmative action. There's a Voting Rights Act. Also, there's an abortion issue. Also, there are at least 4 cases before the Supreme Court that originated from the state of Texas. So we got some very important cases that have to be decided. This is not the time to play politics. Let's find a consensus. Let's work together, Democrats and Republicans, and find somebody and move them into the Supreme Court.
But you say let's not play politics, but do you think that maybe this was more of a political move, this particular nomination, than anything else by the president?
Well, without a doubt, I mean, there will be politics involved by Democrats and Republicans. But again, as I said, the Constitution doesn't say that the president in the last term is elected only for 3 years. He's got 4 years, so he's got the rest of the year. So he's got the right to nominate somebody, and the Senate has the right under the Constitution to give advice and consent, which means that they can reject somebody that the president. But to say we're not going to give you the courtesy of a hearing, or we're not going to even meet with your nominee, that's taken a very extreme partisan position. And this is what's wrong with this country. Both sides are taking very extreme partisan. That's why you're in the presidential election, you're seeing people going to the far right, far left. And people are forgetting that when we look at the Constitution, when we talk about the preamble, when we talk about a government, by the people, of the people, for the people, some people are taking the word people out and they're adding the word party, and they're putting party before the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, and that's wrong, and that's why there's this great frustration out there with the American public. And I think what we need to do is work together as Democrats and Republicans. Let's get our job done. We're elected and we're sent up here to Washington not to make the easy decisions. A lot of them are going to be tough decisions. We don't have the luxury of saying this is an easy one, I'm going to take this one, I'm not going to take the hard one, and that's what's happening up here in Washington. Let's call it the way it is.
But very quickly, was it a political move, do you think, to put pressure on the Republicans to have a hearing for the nomination?
Well, I mean, I think the best thing that the president can do is nominate a qualified individual and then put him out there, let the American public look at this individual, look at the qualifications, and then hopefully the Senate will move on that. But again, for all the Republican senators to say we're not going to give somebody a hearing, again, people talk about the Constitution, read the Constitution. The president has 4 years. He's got one left, and he ought to be provided the courtesy of nominating somebody because the Constitution does not limit any president the last year.
Congressman, well, thank you. We have to go, and I know that you have to go, but one last, very quickly, do you think Senator Ted Cruz can win the primary here in Texas, giving the right now what Donald Trump has been doing across this nation, winning primary and this latest caucus in Nevada? Do you think Senator Cruz, even Rubio, might have a chance to win the primaries here in the state of Texas?
Well, let me talk about, I'm concerned about one primary, that's a Democratic primary, and Hillary's going to win that primary. On the Republican side, I would say that, you know, being the senator from Texas, that should give him the advantage. I understand Governor Abbott endorsed Senator Cruz, so that should give him an advantage being the senator from here. But I'm concerned about the Democratic primary and supporting Hillary Clinton.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Congressman, and we look forward to seeing you when you get right back here to Texas.
We'll see you down there in the valley. Thank you so much.
Thank you.